My name is Lauren Thorne. I am one of the Associate Deans of Students in the Office of the Dean of Students.
And I am Lynn Roeder, and I am your Dean of Students. And good morning and welcome to East Carolina University.
And we also want to welcome you as a part of the ECU Live series, which of course is part of ECU New Student Orientation. We appreciate you joining us today. Today we are going to kick off what we're calling DOS Day, Dean of Students Day. But this individual session will be recorded and will also be archived and available on the official ECU YouTube channel in a few days. Please give us a little bit of time to get the video captioned and uploaded, but it will be up there in the next few days. And in order to make sure that we are following accessibility guidelines, the archived recorded session will be closed captioned. If further accommodations are required, you can contact the Office of Disability Support Services, whom you'll be hearing from later on today. So we want to get started by running through our schedule for the time that we'll be with you. And we've introduced ourselves. We've also acknowledged this is all about the Dean of Students unit today. We have a series of different offices that will be highlighted today. And so all of them fall under the Dean of Students unit umbrella, as we like to say. Dr. Roeder oversees 5 different offices, including our office, the Student Health Services, Center for Counseling and Student Development, Disability Support Services, let's see, who else? Office of Student Rights and Responsibilities. And so you'll be able to learn about all of those offices today, and we are just kicking it off. So let us know if you have any questions. We've got a brief PowerPoint to share with you, and then we'll take some Q&A at the end, and then also set up the rest of our offices who will be sharing information about their resources and services throughout the rest of today. So let me advance my PowerPoint here. Come on, there we go. All right, so who are we? In the Dean of Students office, we have 11 administrators and staff members, and we take a multidisciplinary approach. We have all kinds of different backgrounds, but a lot of them focus on social work, counseling, psychology. We like to say we're adjacent, both literally and figuratively, to the counseling center. And because we are usually that first stop for students who are experiencing crisis or concerns and who often need a counseling type help. The social work approach also helps a lot because we do a lot of case management. And we work with students to connect them to different resources and services on campus. So we are that primary office for all of those things. Referrals, case management, and we want to make sure that students feel safe, that they're able to be successful both in and out of the classroom, and that there are wraparound services, that we don't have students who quote unquote fall through the cracks. So a lot of times we are that first point of referral for students who are seeking additional support, and then we like to view ourselves as sort of the spoke in the middle of the wheel that then directs everyone out to all of these other services and resources that are available on campus. We do a great job of building those relationships with those offices. We are very happy to have a lot of colleagues and different departments that we like to collaborate with. And so we'll talk a little bit about that, but just know, I always like to say we're that office that we hope you don't need, but if you do, it's really good to know that we exist, that we are there to support you, that we are there to provide those extra resources, and that we want you to be able to be successful here at ECU, and we will take that extra step to make sure that you get connected with the services that are going to help make that happen. So that can include personal concerns, it can include financial concerns, and a lot of times too, working with advisors and faculty members around academic concerns. So just a little bit about what we do. Some of the other things that we work with, so we actually are the office who will coordinate and facilitate ECU Cares referrals. ECU Cares is a great way for those both within the ECU community and outside of the campus community, so parents or other individuals, to be able to share information about students that they may be concerned about, and they want to make sure that someone's following up on them. And so you can actually check out our website for ECU Cares. It is http://ecucares.ecu.edu. And it's actually a great resource to keep in mind. Parents, I would recommend bookmarking it. It's got a lot of links on there that you can check out as far as other campus resources and information that you can share. And it's got different ways to make referrals or to submit reports to all kinds of different offices. But one in particular is that there is an ECU Cares report that you can pull up. You can submit information about a student, whether that be anonymously. You don't have to share your contact information, but you can be able to provide that information, and then that submits a report to the Dean of Student Office, where then we can follow up with the student and see how they're doing and see if there are any resources or services that we can assist with. Sorry, we got notifications going all over the place. We also help to manage the University Behavioral Concerns team, which works closely with ECU Cares. And so when we have campus safety concerns on campus, this is a team of individuals who will provide guidance on different threat assessment, determining next steps, different things like that. And so all of those teams work conjointly to keep our students safe and to make sure that we are doing everything we can to provide those resources and address any safety concerns on campus. We educate. We do a lot of programming out of our office. And so our campus community, we have the ability to educate and talk to them about topics around resiliency, around basic stress management, civility, working towards addressing food insecurity or other basic needs, and the ECU Creed. ECU Creed is something you worked very hard on to bring to campus and has been incorporated. You'll see it around campus in different places. And you can always look for different, what we call Creed connections or Creed Week activities, where we talk about the values of the ECU Creed: diversity, responsibility, integrity, and citizenship. And so these are values that we have here on campus that we want every student to know that, we respect these values, that we hold them high, and that we want to hold our students accountable as well, so that they can live out these values in the way that they operate on campus and the way they treat one another.
It's like a guide for behavior. It's not something we have to do. It's something we want to do. So we're all a very safe community, and we recognize faculty, staff, and students every year who are great examples of the 4 pillars of the Creed. And Lauren does a very nice job in doing that. And the Creed has been around since '07. And so we continued it this year. It was more virtual, but we will continue it as it moves on. So we're very excited about that.
All right, and then one of our last big changes that we've had this year, particularly if you have a student who has been here previously, or for our OAs who are in the chat, we are taking on the advocacy role here on campus. And so we advocate on behalf of our students with policies, with service delivery, meeting their needs, meaning we will advocate for you. We will go to bat for you in certain situations. But one of the biggest changes is that we are working towards taking on that advocacy role, particularly for students who have experienced any type of crime, domestic violence, or sexual assault. So this is a little bit of a change because our victim advocacy used to be operating out of the counseling center because of some Title IX changes and Clery Act changes. This is a shift that we're seeing across higher education. And what's great is that our case managers are doing a fantastic job of working with students, meeting with them, providing information about different resources and options on campus, and still connecting them to all of those great services that we have available for students who have experienced this type of concern or situation. So that is a shift. It is something that has been in the works for the last few months related to broader higher education changes. It's not just ECU that's making this change, it's really across the country.
Yeah, right.
But that is a little bit of a change, and it has been a new service delivery. And we do have more information about that on our website now, which thank you very much, Ashley, for putting that in the chat. We appreciate it. And so individuals can go and find out more information about those resources there. All right, some of the other things that we're doing on campus and other ways that we can help. So one of the big things that we do is that we get to learn those university policies and procedures forwards and backwards, often because we're involved in writing them and implementing them. And so we want to be there to explain those to our students and their families We know that that can be very confusing. It can be very overwhelming. If you've ever pulled up one of our PRRs, it's a lot to take in. And so our office is often tasked with being that point person to be able to explain those things. It may mean that, we work with the student to figure out who to connect with next. It may mean that we make a referral to explore or go down a certain process in order to address a concern on campus. But we are sort of tasked with being, again, that knowledgeable spoke in the middle of the wheel that then can direct you to that next person to be able to assist.
We always like to say that we are the buck stops here. We don't,
That's right.
we try to manage a student and help them with their situation and get them the information. It's a large institution, and sometimes students will feel that they kind of just keep going around to different offices. So if you come here, call us or email us, we will help you get through it.
Yes. One of the other big tasks that we are presented with is providing information and facilitating the process for university excused absences. And so this is for students who are experiencing a crisis or personal emergency situation. We have actually done a lot of work over the summer to put this process online. And so in order to kind of prepare for the fall and knowing that, students are going to be seeking out information about this or may have concerns, we have put all this information online. It is a form that can be filled out and then reviewed by our staff that are in the office. And we have provided greater clarity and kind of different qualifications for various excused absences. And so that's really a big change for us. We like to say the university excused absence policy itself was written by the faculty senate and is included in the faculty manual, but our office has been tasked with facilitating that. And so we have developed a process, a protocol over the last few years and now have really streamlined it so that we can better serve the needs of our students and be able to provide that information up front to hopefully avoid any further confusion or anything like that. So that's been a big deal.
Yeah, right.
It's been a huge process over the summer, and we're really excited to see that roll out this fall. We manage the university's grievance process. We are legally obligated to tell you that. And so it is something where, we differentiate between what's a complaint, what's a grievance, what goes through the faculty process, and then what would go through our technical grievance process. Again, one of those things we hope you don't need, but if you do, it's really good to know where to go.
And it may be that your grievance has something to do more with discrimination. And so then we may guide you to the Office of Equity and Diversity. So, but the main thing is if you start here, we'll get you in the right place to help, whether it's through a faculty process, the Office of Equity or Diversity, or through our office. It can be very, very confusing, but if you start here, we'll get you in the right place.
Yeah. And then finally, we will collaborate with you to work with faculty, staff, to explore those options for students who need additional support and advocacy. We kind of already touched on that, but it's a good review. And just a reminder that that's a big part of what we do. We serve as that bridge over to other offices, other departments, other staff members in order to provide those needs that students have. Some basic numbers. We had 2,734 reports submitted through our database that we use for our documentation and note-taking. And the majority of those are related to support during a crisis, academics, and like we said, university excused absences. We also helped a lot this past spring with the Students Treasure Chest, CARES Act process related to the COVID-19. We just wrapped up the CARES Act process over the last few weeks. And so we were able to assist with that process in providing over $8.8 million of federal funding to students in need. We have also helped 650 students who were not CARES Act eligible with over $500,000 worth of institutional or foundation funds. And so that's been a big part of supporting our students, knowing that this has been a challenging time. And hopefully students can connect with us in the fall if they continue to need additional support. And we've already started developing those processes so that students know where to go and who to contact should they need additional support and advocacy. Some other things that we've done where we have remained involved on campus We are huge supporters of mental health and being able to connect with counseling services and resources. And so we have assisted annually for the past few years with the mental health program Fresh Check Day. Like we said, we are located physically next door to the counseling center. We both share the first floor of Umstead Hall. And so we work very closely with our counselors, with the outreach staff there to help put on different programs. And this has been a really great program that has happened annually for the past few years that has happened in collaboration with our CRW programs as well, our wellness office. And so we're excited to see how that adapts to the sort of new normal with programming in the fall, but we are looking forward to it and have been huge supporters, advocates of talking about mental health and connecting students with those resources. We are also really involved in Cupola Conversations. We have one coming up tomorrow. In fact, your ECU ambassadors, AJ is being represented on there. And so this one is specifically going to focus on students empowering students and talking about the systemic injustices and a lot of the racial tension that's been going on and how students are supporting and talking with one another. But Cupola Conversations has been going on for the past 4 years. And we have covered lots of different topics, and it's a great opportunity for students to participate in civil discourse and honestly to be exposed to a lot of different perspectives. So we've worked really hard to continue that program and have appreciated the outlet that it's provided this summer, and particularly with everything that's been going on. And then we are kind of the crisis people, right?
Yeah. Everything and anything, it's here.
So when Hurricane Florence came in 2018, our office was essential in providing that support for students who were returning to campus, tracking the damage or impact that they had from the storm, and being able to coordinate those resources and referrals. And so that was a very busy time for our office, but we really were able to figure out a process that worked well, and we're able to provide that, again, that connection point for students and their faculty members and how it was affecting them coming to class. So we get creative when we need to, and it's really kind of cool to watch how all of our ideas and brainstorming come together to develop a process that works well for our students and for the university. This past spring as well, we started doing a collaboration called Hoist, Helping Our Students Thrive. This was in conjunction with the University Writing Center and the Office for Faculty Excellence to provide a consultation format for faculty members. A lot of times, like we said, we are that bridge to the academic affairs side of things. And so we were able to provide an opportunity for faculty members to consult with different experts on topics, a lot of them coming from our offices within the Dean of Students unit, and being able to talk about those challenging topics that students and faculty members may run into in the classroom, and help them to be able to create a more welcoming learning environment for their students. So that's been really cool to watch, and we hope to continue that in the fall. We have all been involved in the rollout of Green Dot, which is the bystander intervention program. This has also been a really key focus for the Dean of Students units. Again, focusing on advocacy, focusing on that bystander intervention. And so we continue to work on promoting that and rolling that out in the fall. And then we already talked about the Creed Awards.
Yes, we do.
So great opportunity again to recognize and acknowledge the positive things that are going on here on campus. So where can you find us? Ashley already put our website in there, but we've got it up here as well. Our primary email account is dos@ecu.edu. If you don't know exactly who to go to at first, you can always email that and it will get referred to the appropriate person. And so that's a good generic email address to use for our office. It is regularly checked and sent to either a case manager or one of the administrators. And so we're always happy to respond to emails. You can call us. We have our phone number up there, as well as we are located, again, the first floor of Umstead Hall. Different from the counseling center. The counseling center uses a back entrance that faces Slay. We use a front entrance that faces 10th Street that is closest to the Science and Technology building. We do ask that if you're a student, if you do need to come by, that you call first. We're going to be doing different screenings and things like that in the fall to kind of limit the amount of traffic that is coming through the office. But if you do have to come to the office, we would ask you to bring your one card, because we have a one card reader at the front that only allows in our students. And then otherwise, we've got a little camera and a phone box to be able to let people in.
Right.
And then we are active on social media. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We are going to be working on rolling out some more programs related to that this fall and over the summer. And so we know that this fall is going to look different. We know that there are going to be a lot of changes. We are not going to be able to mix and mingle quite as much as we are used to. And so we want to make sure that you still get to know us, you still are aware of the resources and services that are out there. And so Dr. Reuter and I are working on some plans, and we're really excited to roll those out as we continue forward towards the beginning of the fall semester and in through those first few months. So we have now some time for questions. We got about 20 minutes or so before we finish up. And so I know I haven't seen any come through the chat, but if you do have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat box or send them to our host, who will let us know, and we'll be happy to answer anything that you may be curious about with the Dean of Students office or with just the Dean of Students unit in general.
And a lot of times students may not have questions now. And I think what I always say when we do orientation, whether this is the first time we've done it this way,
yes,
live, is that you never know what you need until something happens or something comes up. And so what I would say to you, if you remember anything from this presentation, just know that we're here to support you and to support your academic success. And you may not remember it, but if you can remember the Dean of Students office, like I remember those people, they're the people that might be able to help me. And so no question is ever, we're always here to answer any question you may have or concern. A lot of times students or parents will call who just don't know where to go with anything. This is a large institution. And depending on the type of school you went to, high school, and how large or small, it can be a little overwhelming. But we want you to know that we are here and we will get you the answers into the right place that you need to.
All right, we did have a question come in. Thank you, Jamie, for sharing that with us. If I want to have my child go online only classes, do I talk with you? Great question. And so that's going to depend on the student.
Yeah.
We actually just had a meeting earlier this week with our academic advisors and our Office for Disability Support Services. And so if the student is seeking online accommodations because of a medical or health concern that would fit under the ADA requirements, then we recommend going straight to Disability Support Services. They will have a session later on today, but you can check out their information, or you can email them. It's DSS department at ecu.edu. And they will be happy to talk with you about the medical information that they need. If it is a general, just I am concerned, and we know there are concerns. There are a lot of concerns. And there's not necessarily a medical or health reason. What we're asking is that students work with their advisor to see what online sections are available for the courses they are currently registered for. And then if they run into a roadblock, we are recommending going directly to the faculty member to see if the faculty member's intention is still to remain in a face-to-face or hybrid offering. Because what we're finding, and our disability support services staff has confirmed this as well, students are kind of just going by what's in Banner, and that's not always immediately accurate. Our registrar's office and a lot of our enrollment services people are still doing a lot of shifting, a lot of changing. And so going directly to the source helps a lot to be able to then know what you're actually, what students are working with. And we have found that the faculty members are actually very accommodating, they're understanding, they have concerns as well, and they're trying to work with the students. And so if we run into a roadblock at that point, then please feel free to come back to us and we'll try and help and assist however we can. The big thing that we like to remind people is that we work very collaboratively with our faculty members. We do not have the authority to tell them what to do. And so, and we have to remind people of that sometimes. So we're trying really hard to respect our faculty members and help them to remain in control of their own classroom, but also to keep the safety of our entire campus in mind, and to work with our students and their families. We know that this is a difficult time, and we are all adapting and changing as much as we can, yep, as quickly as we need to. All right, does my child really need to wear a mask to class to function, or is it just hype? Well, no. So we are working with students again to accommodate the mask requirements that have been issued as a part of our public health plan. One of the reminders that we want to make is that if you are struggling with the idea of your student being masked in class, or if they have a reason for not being able to do that, face shields are also an option. And so that's something that our student health services, who is actually coming up next, their session is at 11, they can confirm that. But we have been working with our chancellor's office, our Office for Student Rights and Responsibilities, who are writing this into and including it as a part of our student code of conduct, that face shields are an acceptable alternative if you have a physical or kind of concern about wearing those masks all the time. And so that's something where we hope that students will understand and respect the personal accountability and sort of the community responsibility that we are hoping to create a culture of caring about our fellow pirates, and understanding that it's going to take all of us working on this together in order to keep our campus community safe. And so a mask while in class, while, trust me, it's challenging, it's going to be something that's an adjustment for all of us. We really would like students to adhere to those community standards and understand how it is going to impact all of us being able to remain here on campus and hopefully avoid having to shut down everything like that. So it's going to take everybody, all hands on deck, as my daughter has been saying. We need everybody to be a part of
their
this.
part.
Yep. Any other questions that we're seeing, Jamie?
Not yet, but I'll continue to repost them as we get them.
Okay. And again, if you do have questions, if you're viewing this on YouTube later on and have any type of question that's come up, please feel free to email us again at that dos@ecu.edu. We're happy to chat with people. We're happy to kind of talk about things as we move forward. Again, we know that this is a challenging time. There's a lot of apprehension and anxiety, and we want to validate that. You know, none of us have done this before. and so we are all figuring it out as we go. But please know that we're here to hopefully be able to work with you and figure out what's going to work best, and really sort of adapt all of this to our new normal, because
this is the new normal.
The new normal. Yeah.
Right.
And we see it. Thank you for the mask requirement. Yes. We are not wearing our masks today. We are going to be in a team that works together throughout the semester. So we are kind of being considered a family unit, similar to how your students are going to consider their roommates as their family unit. So,
and there's just a lot of uncertainty and not knowing what to do, or if I'm supposed to walk across campus with a mask on. And so there's gonna be some guidelines that'll be coming out. But we're here to help. We're not here to, if someone doesn't have a mask on, to put any sort of punishment. We want to be able to help students and educate them. And I think the hardest thing for young folks is they don't necessarily feel like they're sick or they could get it or that. But we have to remember that this virus is sort of mysterious in that you can have it and not even know you have it, but you could give it to somebody who may have other health issues that then makes their life in jeopardy. And so we're trying to do everything we can, but this is new for all of us. And I think, we're going to kind of learn together and grow and know that this will have to be flexible and fluid. And so, it'll be a great fall. It'll just be a different kind of fall. And we'll work together to get through it. But know that you have support here, parents. We have a parent office, and we're here to support you because I know there's a lot of uncertainty for you also, sending your student, away, even if it's from Raleigh. And so we know that. And we know that in any normal year, we do. But I know this year is particularly concerning.
All right, we did have a question come in from Trish. If a student experiences a crime such as vehicle damage, do they contact campus security or call local police? So Trish, we are actually really lucky that we have a fully fledged and operating campus police force. They have the same rights and privileges as our Greenville police. And so our ECU police are going to be common people that the students will see here on campus. They'll do walkthroughs in the residence halls. If there were to be something like vehicle damage, if it's like a car accident or something like that where they need immediate assistance, they can always call 911, and that will actually patch them through to the appropriate police force depending on where they are. If it's close to campus, it'll likely be ECU Police. If it's adjacent to campus but not in the ECU jurisdiction, it may be Greenville Police. But if it's something that's a non-emergency and they just want to kind of speak with a dispatch officer, they do have a non-emergency number. I actually recommend a lot of times for students to program that, because I've used it as a staff member, just walking around on campus, and I noticed something that seems a little out of sorts. You can call dispatch. They have all of the blue light cameras and the cameras that are on buildings where they can immediately pull something up and be able to send someone out to check it out. And they are able to support our students with being able to go back and review video footage. So if there is video footage of like vehicle damage that occurred while the student was not there and they want to check the cameras to see, that's something that they can do. We would consider that to be a non-emergency. So we would want to use that non-emergency number. And they also help a lot with, we've used them for online security issues. We've used it for all kinds of different things. And so we recommend that. Thank you very much for the non-emergency number in there. And then Trish, there is an app. That is a great segue. I was just about to go there. It is called the Live Safe app. And so our ECU Police are actually accessible right there on the Live Safe app. You can text them, which I find so cool. And then we also have different features in there where you can submit reports based on things. I've actually, if I'm walking back and I notice that there's like a light out in the parking lot, I can take a picture of it and send it through the app, and it like to report damage or report some sort of technical thing, and it will go to the right maintenance people, because all of those reports are easily accessible and will be routed to the appropriate person through the Live Safe app. The other cool thing that we like is the Safe Walk option. We typically talk about this and in orientation, and so with Safe Walk, you can actually have a buddy or a family member or someone like that be able to watch you walk using your GPS safely from one location to another. So great tool to check out and have your students download. Do campus police carry any guns or any type of lethal weapons? They do. Yes, so they are sworn officers. Again, they are just like a Greenville police officer, and they have the same powers and responsibilities as any other officer. And so just something to remember. We actually have had a great relationship with our police. They do a wonderful job of getting to know the students, getting to know the residence halls that they're assigned to. And then they are also able to do certain programs and community safety events. And so we've had a really good relationship with them and work with them closely as
Right.
colleagues.
And it's not uncommon that students will see the police either biking around campus or walking around campus. So you really get to know. And each one of them, as Lauren says, there's a liaison to a resident hall, and you'll meet them the first week of when you're in your hall about some safety tips that they will give you. And so they're really, really a great resource for students. And they know that the students are students, and always try to work with them the best they can. They're campus police, not city police, but they are sworn officers. They do have stun guns. They are licensed to carry guns.
Okay, Corey put a good question in the chat. Can we talk about ECU Alert sign up? Yes, we can. ECU Alert is our emergency text message notification system that our university uses. All students are automatically registered for ECU Alert, okay? So students, don't listen to this next part. You do not need to do this. Parents,
yeah.
if you would, and family members, if you would like to receive ECU alerts, you can search ECU Alert, text sign up. It'll take you straight to that page. I just pulled it up on my phone because I was like, ooh, I haven't done this in a while. Let me make sure that I get the right URL. But you can go to alertinfo.ecu.edu, and that will sign you up, or that will give you an opportunity to sign up. They will also tell you that you'll have to go all the way down to where it says register for alerts, and you will do the ECU family and community registration. An important thing to know is that not all alerts will go to all groups, okay? So in the system, there's like the student group, and there's the faculty and staff group, and there's the community member group, and there's a family group. And so if there's something major, where like we're about to close down, knock on wood, for a hurricane or something like that, you would likely get that alert, and usually in a pretty quick fashion. If it's something minor, or something that's sort of in passing, it may be that alert goes first to our students and our staff and faculty and community, and the family don't get notified until later. So something that definitely is good to know about and great to sign up, put it on that checklist of things to do. All right, we had another question come in. Okay, so the question about instituting an infirmary, I'm going to guess that we're talking about our isolation process. And so, yes, we are working on creating an isolation. It's actually going to be a building within one of our local apartment complexes. We are still finalizing those details, but the reason we are choosing an apartment complex is the individual restroom option is something that's really important. And so we want to make sure that as we ask students to quarantine or isolate because of being tested and waiting results, or if they have positive results, waiting to be cleared, that we have that option. However, going to be the first to say it here, we are going to ask students, if at all possible, to return home. If there is a reason that they cannot, because there are concerns about who might be exposed at home, different things like that, we totally understand. That's why we have this process in place. But our preference, and I'm sure yours as well, is going to be that that they return home if at all possible. And so we will be sharing more information about that. That's actually a really big part of our summer project as well. And we will have more information coming, and we'll share that as it gets cleared and approved by all of the many people that need to, that need to approve it. And are the medical and the student health facilities being upgraded in anticipation? Yes, we have one of the benefits, right, of having our medical school and hospital right here, right next to campus. We have some of the best medical facilities in Eastern North Carolina. And so please know that, we are doing everything we can to prepare for this, knowing that there are a lot of concerns, and we just need to be prepared. And our hope is that we manage it and that we are able to keep the impact to a minimum.
And student health will get on, I think, at 11, and they'll talk more about that. But we, Dr. Wright, who's the director of student health, we have been doing testing all summer long. We've tested our dental students, medical students, and our athletes, because they all returned a little earlier. And so we are able to do that. And we have a whole lengthy process in place about how that will all work, which, as Lauren said, we will share with you later. It's very detailed down to, getting a student to this apartment complexes, following up with them daily. But we, we're not going to get into all of that here, but it is quite detailed. And we're very excited that we have an opportunity to be able to house students that may not even show symptoms, but have tested positive. And then those who are ill, there'll be other things that we will need to take care of them and make sure that they are okay. But as Lauren said, the first option we hope is students to go home for a while. Faculty are aware of this. They know that we're dealing with this. And so hope student will be able to work online at home and be able to do some of their coursework. So there's a lot of moving parts to this, but just know that this is something we've worked on probably for the last month and a half.
Yes.
To know that we have to have something in place for this.
Yeah. All right, another great question. For a medical emergency, yes, a student we would want to dial 911 directly. That's the way it works. And our staff all trained in CPR and administration of EpiPens. That is a great question for campus living. I'm assuming you're talking about campus living staff. I know that for at least, for our staff, that's not something we're required to do. I believe over in campus rec and wellness, where obviously there would be a greater need for CPR and other things like that. They are working, they go through regular training. And then we do have lots of, we have upgraded our defibrillators and have also included Narcan with a lot of those, which has been a big part of our CRC, our collegiate recovery community.
And the other thing is that if let's say at 11 o'clock at night, student isn't feeling well, we have an after hours nurse on call that they can call. A number of student health will share that with you, and the student can talk to the nurse about the symptoms, and the nurse then will guide them as to what the appropriate steps they need to take. As well as the counseling center has after hours counselors. So we do provide service 24/7, if you will. So on weekends, holidays, breaks, we're here to support the students.
We know our students don't keep a 9-to-5 schedule.
So
it tends to be, I always said like 2 a.m.
That's when it happens.
That's when it happens.
Somebody's not feeling well, but we do have people, we do have things in place so students aren't calling home and saying, I don't know what to do. There are things here that students can get services for, and some guidance and some good feedback on what's happening with them.
All right, any other last questions as we start to wrap up and prepare for our student health presentation next? Do we have epinephrine in the kits with Narcan? Great question. I'm going to defer to Lanika, Dr. Wright, in the next section.
She would know that,
because I think that it's one of those things where we've talked about that, but I can't remember if we ever finalized it.
This is a new initiative that we actually started this year. We have a young man in the counseling center, Jay Harris, who's working on has a grant for collegiate recovery. And so one of the things we were able to do with the grant is have Narcan, and the police have always had it.
Yes.
And so, but now we have it in student health, and it's free, and students will just can come in and get a bag. It's not labeled or anything, and that's just in case they're concerned about somebody. But we've had people use it, and it's saved people. So it's a great initiative that we were able to get off the ground last year, and I know it will continue to be used.
But we will let Lanika know about that question about the EpiPen, and hopefully they will be able to include it as a part of their conversation.
Yep.
So. Any other questions?
But we thank you all, and we look forward to seeing you. We'll probably see you crossing the mall, going to class. Everybody have a mask on.
Yep.
We do look forward to seeing you, and we hope it's a great year. And go Pirates!
That's right. We thank you so much for joining us today. As we said, if you do have any follow-up questions, please know that you can continue to contact us. As a reminder, this session has been recorded, and an archived copy of this recording will be available on the official ECU YouTube channel. We hope that you'll join us for the next session on student health at 11. And feel free to contact us, offices, student transitions, any of the offices that are supporting the online orientation program. We connect with all of them, and so they will send you to our office if it's an appropriate referral, and we are very excited to see our incoming class and our families. Hard to believe it, just in a few weeks.
Yeah,
like it's
3
gonna be
weeks.
here before we know it. So
Yeah.
please enjoy the rest of your summer, be safe, and we will be in contact as we keep going forward.
Yep.
Thank you guys
Thank you.
so much.
Bye.